Davidaniels. I'm a sergeant with the Public Information Office. At approximately 8:58 a.m., officers responded to 7606 Blessing Avenue in reference to shots being fired. While en route, another occupant from the apartment advised they were also inside their residence, and officers were still, or the 911 operator was still hearing shots being fired. Officers made the scene, again continued to hear shots being fired. They were trying to make contact with the individual inside. Eventually, they were able to form a react team, along with notifying SWAT to the scene. The react team was in proximity to the apartment in question, and they were able to make contact with the suspect. They were able to convince him to come outside, and they took him into custody without incident. The other two occupants inside the apartment were fine. They were safe.
Do we know why the shots were being fired? Was this a situation of anger or alcohol, drug induced?
That is what we're trying to determine at this time. Again, the suspect is in custody. He will be evaluated. There are potential charges to be filed. So we're still actively working the scene.
What type of shots were fired? What type of gun was recovered?
At this time, I can't discuss what type of weapon, but I can report that shots were fired.
Shots fired by both police and the suspect?
No shots were fired by officers, just the suspect alone.
Less lethal, non-lethal used?
No less lethal was used on the suspect. He complied once they told him to come outside. He still was armed. He put the weapon down, and they took him into custody. While this incident was going on, AISD was notified, and the school just across the street was placed on lockdown, but they are now cleared the scene, and the school is under operation.
What were the women telling the 911 operator? Were they trapped inside the house? Were they, was it part of an argument and they just couldn't get out?
Again, that's what we're interviewing the two occupants inside the apartment. It doesn't appear that they were trapped inside, but again, that's what we're working on right now.
Are they the ones that made the phone call?
One of the occupants did make the phone call to police.
Certainly a tense situation for them and the 911 operator.
Absolutely, for everyone involved, it was tense.
What do you have to say in regards to the 911 operator trying to de-escalate the situation for those women?
I think overall, everyone did an absolute fantastic job because nobody was hurt. Of course, being a 911 operator on that side of it is very difficult because you're not able to see the people involved in the situation. So they probably weren't even notified until after everything was over that everything was fine. This was a good resolution to this scene, and again, we're actively investigating and trying to get the individual some help.
And we saw the women being treated by the paramedics. They're okay, right? They weren't hurt. They weren't shot.
That is correct. No physical injury. However, victim services was called to the scene, and they are speaking with our victim services counselors as we speak.
Seems like a lot of this going on lately. Can you talk about what it's like for your officers when you have to do this many times, the resources, and whenever you have a lot of these call-outs like this, the SWAT scenes?
Well, it's important to have adequate resources because you're able to slow everything down and not rush a situation. And this was one example where we were able to have enough resources on scene and nobody was hurt.
Some of these crews, I mean, y'all were just a couple of hours ago, not far from here, working a similar domestic type situation. Were the guys working that one pretty much the same team that got rolled out on this one?
That I'm not sure. However, they were still on duty, but I'm not sure if it was the exact same team because we have reserve units, so I'm not sure.
Still pretty interesting the fact that just within before noon, you had two back-to-back domestic type situations that got fairly violent.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Is it tough for you guys to just respond to that over and over like that? I mean, is it kind of exhausting to go from one to the next like that?
It can be. It's an adrenaline rush. Again, anytime you're dealing with deadly weapons involved, it's very disturbing for the officers because you just don't know. It's one of those encounters that it could turn deadly, and we were very blessed that this one did not.
What do we know about this man taken into custody? Does he have any
Not at this time. Again, he's currently being evaluated, and he will be shortly transported